A very good afternoon to all the esteemed dignitaries, respected members of ICAI and the respected members of SAPA bodies, distinguished speakers from distinguished speakers. I welcome you all for this Bridging the Mindset Gap webinar. On behalf of the members in practice committee of ICAI, jointly with SAPA, Small and Medium Practice Committee, I extend a warm welcome to all of you for today's insightful webinar on bridging the mindset gap. In today's rapidly evolving professional environment, technical expertise alone is not longer sufficient. The true differentiator of professional lies in mindset, the mindset of hard work, consistency, integrity, fairness, openness, respect, and dependability. These values not only shape successful professionals but also transform chartered accountants into trusted business advisors. Today, today's webinar brings together eminent leaders and thought-provoking speakers who will share the valuable insights on the timeless professional values and their relevance in modern practice. We are truly privileged to have amongst us the leaders of ICAI and SAPA, whose guidance continues to inspire the profession globally. It's now my proud privilege to introduce our esteemed dignitary, the chairman of the Members in Practice Committee, CA Madhukar Hirgange sir, whose visionary leadership and immense contribution to the profession has earned him immense respect across the fraternity. CA Madhukar Hirgange is renowned thought leader and one of the most respected names in the field of indirect taxation and GST. With decades of professional excellence, he has been instrumental in shaping and mentoring professionals across the country. He has authored several landmark publications on GST and indirect taxation and has represented the profession at numerous national and international forums. His clarity of thought, practical approach, and commitment towards professional capacity building continues to inspire the chartered accountants across generations. Beyond his technical expertise, CA Hirgange is admired for his unwavering commitment to the ethical professional practices and knowledge sharing, making him a true guiding force of the profession. Sir, we are deeply honored by your gracious presence today. May I request you to kindly address the gathering. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Priyanshu. And I would like to extend a very warm welcome to Praveen Jhaji from Nepal, who has been coming for this particular session. I don't know whether he's more regular or I am more regular, but from the time it has started, he's always there. Today I will be taking a bit of a time for the reason that I think our next speaker may be delayed or may not come. But there was also an urgent need for us to showcase and also request something from the audience whom we have today. I would also like to welcome Badrinath ji. Badrinath ji is from a firm called SDU in Bangalore. It's a firm where many of my friends who were from college did their articles. And let me tell you, an amazing firm. In 1990, I was struggling chartered accountant and I was practicing in central excise. And, money was in very short supply. Not short supply, it was very short supply. And I happened to meet the partner at that time, Mr. Singhvi, FR Singhvi. And he said, "Oh, why don't you join my firm?" I said, "What is this?" No, you can join as a partner. We don't have central excise. I did think of doing central excise, but I have never taken it up seriously. So why don't you join? I said, "No, sir, I am too independent. Then he said, all these books I have. He had a full rack of books. In those days, I think even if I were to consider 150 or 200, the whole thing would have been worth around 30,000. 30,000 in 1990 was a large amount of money. He just said, take the books, it's of no use to me. And that was one of the reasons why I did well in this profession. Anyway, so that was a long, long back. And that's the type of firm from where Badrinath comes. He will
Thank
also
you, sir.
talk to you about, some of the non-negotiable practices he has. One of them he is going to speak on today. Other three we can keep in reserve.
Sure.
So today we talk about the strengthening of the future of the profession. One of the main ways we are looking at it is that we need to get out of our traditional areas of practice, or start working in the non-traditional areas and the new age uh, practices, so that we can flourish in the coming time. For example, AI has come and it is infiltrating everything, whether it is legal advice, whether it is management consultancy, whether it is internal audit, whether it is GST filing. Everywhere, automation and AI have come in. Large language models are certainly a threat to the traditional practitioners unless we make it part of our armory. We learn AI and see how we can work with it, how we can work on top of it, how we can utilize it better. And that, I think, will bring a lot of cost effectiveness and also open us to the future, that is, future which is the whole world. For this, we need to collaborate also quite a lot. And that's what we have done in many of our programs. Let me look at what we are exactly doing. So we are looking at seeing that we build the competency, because knowledge, is the base. Even our values as a chartered accountant, as a professional, it says that unless I know the subject, I should not advise. What is also covered under due diligence. Without a subject knowledge, I should say, I don't know this. You go to somebody else who knows it. So we are trying to see that all these non-traditional areas of practice, new areas of practice, the tech areas of practice, we are trying to see that we build structured program and small toolkits to enhance every member's skill. We are also doing programs to take care of enabling growth. For example, I am a chartered accountant who has just passed. If I have just passed and I want to practice, then we have a 7-day course for that person to get him to get started. Again, this looks at what exactly he needs when he starts a practice. We have understood that this 7-day course may not be enough also, and we are planning for something bigger, which I'll talk about. Other than that, we have somebody who is there in the middle of his practice, or somebody who's there in jobs, and then they want to leave the job and join practice. So we have one very popular course called the Practice Ki Pathshala, the School of Practice, Chartered Accountants. So it's a 4-day program. It builds various parts of your identity, strengthens where you are strong, overcomes your limitation, and of course adds to you what are the new areas of practice, and you'll have a chance to network with around 50 of your colleagues who are coming from all parts of India. Presently, we have a residential and a non-residential format for this. We also want to see that we champion innovation, because digital transformation is here to stay. My own office needs digital transformation and also safety. Why should a client come to me if my office is an open box where any information can be taken away, including my client's information? Therefore, we should be protected against any sort of cyber attack, ransomware, etc., which are all realities today. They don't come to us because we are all peanuts. We are all too small. One of the other things which is very important in our practice is over a period of time, we have understood that the leaders, the partners who are the best are the ones who build leaders under them. They inspire leadership within their firms. They nurture ethical and visionary practice leaders within themselves. So if we put all these things together, you have professional excellence driving through. And this can ensure that none of us will be threatened. In fact, we may flourish in the future. What is the way we are doing this? We have got various sets. Let's start with what are the core, what is it that the courses will have? First of all, we have taken expression of interest from everybody. All the chartered accountants in India have been asked whether you wish to be trainers, you wish to be master trainers, content writers, experts. And we shortlisted them, evaluated them. Then we have a program structure where again we take inputs from the experts who are there in those fields. Remember, our members are very versatile, and many members come out from the big four and start practices in niche areas, and they give excellent inputs. We also try and see that we develop material for everything. Like for our real estate course, we have a material. For our PKP course, we have a material. So wealth management, we have a material. Like that, we have material for each and everything which can be referenced. We also see that we hold all these things not only in Delhi, but across India. In the regional councils, we schedule workshops. In the branches, we schedule workshops. We also have train the trainer program where we see that each and every course, the pedagogy is seen. What should be shared is seen. How you should share should be seen. Focus on case studies is there. After that, we finally look at the values which a person should have to succeed in the particular area. What are the new areas we took up this year? One is a 50-50 initiative. Simple thing. I am past 50. I don't like to join these AI courses, the DPDP courses where the average age of the chartered accountant is 30 or less, and I am too slow. I cannot catch up with that. By the time I work on my Excel, the answers are ready. So I don't like to go there. So we have designed a course, 50 softwares for those above 50. I should submit that this particular idea came from our chairman of the global services in our institute, Sanjeev Sanghi. We are also having CA Practo. This has been again uh, taken over, you can say, from Pune branch, where a person can learn a small technology or a small tool within 3 days. On Sunday, this tool will be available to all CAs. They can work on it. On Wednesday, there is a clarification on how this tool works. And then these are all free tools, so you can use it freely. Of course, upgraded part of the tool may cost you some money. That is left to you. Then on Friday, again, one more class is there where issues are sorted out. All your problems are sorted out. And normally the speaker keeps a window for continued clarification for some time. The biggest event which we are planning this year is the 30-day residential course. This is going to be a game changer for the practitioners because most of the people go to industry, but they don't understand that actually the practice, especially the new age practice, is very exciting and very rewarding. It's unimaginable what all it gives. Anyway, so this particular residential course is going to be launched in the month of July. So we have talked about this, and look at the areas where we are looking at in this 50-50. Digital foundation, everyday technology, AI automation, cyber security, office productivity. Maybe the last one can pay back quite fast your practice. 30 days residential course is going to be, as I said, it's going to be a game changer. And CA Practo, as I said, is an initiative which I hope will continue for the next 2 years. And by the time we'll have, every fortnight we are doing this. Therefore, 2 a month is what a person will get. This is other than all the programs being done by the AI committee, the DAB committee, and the CECL committee, WTO committee, Global Trade and Services committee. Other than that, these are the ones we are doing. So broadly, what I talked to you and what is left over, I will just touch. Real estate consultancy is a one-stop solution. 6-day program, intensive, and all the people who have attended this program have asked for extension of this program. That means we are still teaching them in online courses. We are still continuing to teach them more. In spite of attending 6 days, they want more, and we are doing that. Pathway to practice, I have already said 7 days, practice ki Pathshala 4 days. There's also a GST litigation workshop. GST is an area where a lot of confusion is there, and GST compliance work is coming down. So we have thought of providing this GST litigation workshop, again in collaboration with the GST committee of the ICA. This is one of the ways which I was telling, collaboration within ICI itself we are doing. Communication, we have understood, is a very, very big point, and there we are looking at doing something really big. CA toolkit is one more workshop-based thing which is available, and uh, branches who have conducted this have found it very useful. We also have this type of program. Today's program is called the Bridging the Mindset Gap, where so many psychological barriers to the professional success are there. And one listens to some of the experts like Badrinath, then they get gyan. They get, oh, I also can do this. So there is also a career readiness program which prepares new chartered accountants for their uh, practice possibilities as well as their careers. There's a scan here. If somebody wants to scan it, you can get more details. And I would like to thank Priyanshu for giving me the extra time today. Normally, my talk is supposed to take not more than 5 minutes. Today, I've taken a little extra. Oh, back to you,
Thank,
Priyanshu ji. Back to
thank.
you.
So, thank you very much for sharing the initiatives of the Committee for Members in Practice. And it's now my honor to introduce CA Praveen Kumar Jha, sir. He's the Vice President of SAPA and immediate past President of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nepal, a distinguished chartered accountant and an accomplished professional leader. He has made immense contribution towards strengthening professional excellence, governance, and quality standards in accountancy profession. Through his extensive experience and active leadership within SAPA and ICA Nepal, he continues to play a vital role in shaping the future of the profession in the region. Sir, your presence today adds immense value to this webinar, and we are privileged to have you amongst us. May I request you to please kindly address the participants. Over to you, sir.
Namaskar. Thank you, Priyanshuji. Good afternoon and welcome everybody. My sincere greetings to the committee chair and members of SAFA SMP committee and ICA's committee of members in practice, both the speakers, the secretariat team, and all the distinguished personalities attending this webinar from across the region. It's my great pleasure to welcome you all. I thank the committee chair, members and all supporting team members for organizing this Bridging the Mindset Gap series on a weekly basis, which I believe is very helpful for everyone attending these sessions. I understand from the short presentation that Madhukar sir just discussed with us, the whole idea of running this series is to help suggest or rather guide our fellow professionals, whether it's young or by 50-50, he's trying to address people like us who is already in their 50s to widen the scope of services that we can deliver. The series also talks about this mindset series also talks about new skill sets required to survive or rather thrive in the rapidly evolving current context, which is ESG reporting, as we just discussed, AI, digitization, cybersecurity, etc., where status quos are challenged on a regular basis. I tend to repeat it every time when I get an opportunity to talk, that when we choose to become professional accountants, we decided to pursue a course of lifelong learning. Being present today for everybody for the webinar today is a proof of our commitment. Your presence here says something important. You're ready to grow, stretch, and move beyond where you are today. Today's first speaker will talk about hard work, consistency, and integrity. I think the topic itself is self-explanatory. The second presentation will talk about the concept of FORD, which involve being fair, being open, being respectful, and being dependable. I believe these are the minimum traits that a successful advisor should have. I would not dive into the topics myself and let our experts explain the concept. I look forward to hearing from both the speakers, and I believe there would be some takeaways for everyone attending the webinar. Finally, before I move, looking at the presentation that Madhukar sir just presented, I think there is a lot of work that ICEI is doing, especially this committee is doing, and I think there are many other arrangements or collaboration arrangements that we can have in our broader SAFA network. That we'll discuss with ICEI and your team at an opportune time. Finally, I would again thank the Secretariat team, committee members, committee chair, today's speakers, and all the participants from different POs attending this webinar. Welcome once again. Thank you for giving me this opportunity, and namaskar.
Thank you very much, sir, for your motivating and insightful address. We are grateful for your gracious presence and valuable guidance. So now we move on to our.
I want to just respond to Praveen ji that, sir, we are available all the time. You know how efficient our team is. You can
Yes,
contact,
sir.
get the team to be contacted. We'll do what is needed.
Okay, sir.
Go ahead,
Yeah, thank you.
Priyanshu. Sorry.
So now we move on to our insightful sessions. It is my privilege to introduce CA Badrinath NR, who will deliberate on the topic FORD. F for fair, O for open, R for respectful, and D for dependable. How it can help to become the trusted business advisor to your clients. CA Badrinath NRG is a distinguished chartered accountant and currently leads the tax and regulatory vertical in his firm. He possesses vast experience in designing and implementing tax effect business models for large organizations in industry sectors. He regularly represents clients before various indirect tax appellate authorities and actively engages with government authorities through industry representations and critical trade and taxation matters. He has addressed officers of Central Board of Indirect Taxes and Customs, ICAI members, industry associations, and various professional forums. He also serves as the chairperson of the Expert Committee of Indirect Taxes of Bangalore Chamber of Industry and Commerce, and is a member of several important industry and GST advisory committees. Known for his practical wisdom and balanced professional approach, he truly exemplifies the values of fairness, openness, respect, and dependability in professional practice. Sir, we are honored to have you with us today. I would request you the address and take you over the session. Over to you, sir.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you very much for those kind words, Priyanshu. And Madhukar sir, thank you. It's always a pleasure to kind of work with you as part of your team, etc. Thank you so much. So like Priyanshu was telling, let's talk about maybe 25-30 minutes on the concept on this one word, which we use in an acronym. It is closely, I mean, it also means one of the largest automobiles, but not that. But in our context, we use it as an acronym, FORD. I'll come to that. Whenever I talk to a large number of professionals, whenever we get a chance, whenever we are out there, we speak to the youngsters and all that stuff. A lot of times, the progress that you make as a professional and the money that you make is somewhere, the mindset is that they are directly proportional to each other. That is the mindset a lot of people carry. Somewhere I've been lucky in my life, in my early days when I started my career, to not link the two. So it has helped me a lot. So that's where I thought I'll share some of my notes with you guys. It's important. I'm not trying to diminish the value of the financial parameter in what we are doing. Of course, the gross revenues that we are clocking year on year should increase. The profitability should increase. Our own earnings should increase. All that is given. Absolutely no doubt. But is that what will make you a go-to professional? That I would believe is the result of you being a go-to professional. So let's not confuse in our minds for ourselves to say that the money that I create, the wealth that I create is what is directly proportional to the quality of the professional or quality of the chartered accountant that I am. Let's disconnect the two. So, and one more reason I'll tell you. I'll tell you one more reason. One of the very senior guys who's not amongst us today, one Mr. K.S. Ravishankar, he had told me long back, anything that you want to really go after, chase, or aspire for, should be something which will motivate you always. In the sense, anything that you choose, there will always be a gap of what you want and what you have. There will always be a gap. That is a reality, right? The difference between what I have and what I aspire for should kind of encourage me on a day-to-day basis, not kind of discourage me. You talk about knowledge. Fantastic. Excellent as a parameter. I have disconnected the next 30 minutes of my talk with financial parameters. So let's not get into that. Knowledge. It is something which will always motivate us. Where I want to be versus where I am is a given gap. And anything you chase I'm not talking about philosophy here, but one sentence, one statement is extremely important. In life, there will always be a gap of what I want and what I am. There will always be a gap. I repeat, that gap should encourage us on a day-to-day basis. Because, like we would have heard a lot of people say, what brought you here will not take you there. What helped you build 1 billion will not help you grow till 10 billion, all that stuff. And one more thing we would have heard, right? There are various things which kind of help you grow as a professional. I'll take only 5 minutes of introduction before I get into the parameters. There are various parameters which kind of help us. One sec, sorry. There are various parameters which help us become a good professional. But what keeps you there? What keeps you there? You've grown from in the ladder. But what keeps you there? We would have heard a lot of our seniors say it is humility. Absolutely. It is humility that kind of keeps us there and nothing else. I will add a few aspects to that humility aspect. At SDU, why I'm telling SDU is we've consciously kind of said, let's measure ourselves not on financial parameters, but on something else. So a few years back, we chose this after a lot of debate. We chose these 4 words: fair, open, respectful, and dependable. That acronym became Ford for us. All of us know what is being fair in a discussion, in a relationship, in the engagement that you're doing, right? At the same time, what openness is, what being respectful means, and what dependability means. But I will try to take some examples and walk you through in terms of how we kind of look at it in our day-to-day basis. So let me tell you guys, every year, if not shorter than that, not at a gap of not more than a year, we kind of have certain questions where I rate myself, and I actually give a rating to all my senior colleagues in the office, including my partners. So we have some checklists around this concept, and trust me, it has helped me a lot. This concept of Ford, right? It is not as much as that I demonstrate. I want to do it to prove that I am doing that, as much as it is how I feel about it. Because that is what I would believe. It kind of gives us the confidence in a lot of things. Like Madhukar sir in the beginning, he said, without subject knowledge, there is nothing else. So and it also means that where I don't know the subject that, say, a client of me asks for, it is important that I direct him to the most appropriate person who can answer that question, rather than me not knowing try to answer that. That is one of the examples of being dependable. That is also possibly an example of being open in a relationship as far as your client is concerned. And possibly I'll share one of my experiences with you on this. In the early days of my career, maybe about this was, if my memory serves me right, this was sometime in 2011 or 12. Service tax. It was a service tax issue. There, I was sitting with that client of ours. He was the managing director of the company. I was sitting with him in front of a deputy commissioner in Bombay. The officer didn't like the explanations that we were giving, because he was looking at something specific, and which was not the fact in our transaction. It came to a stage that they could have possibly initiated prosecution proceedings against the people in the company. I was not experienced on dealing with prosecution those days. I am talking 16, 17 years back, way back in my life. So after the meeting, I went up to him. I said, look, I think we should get somebody else to kind of work on this engagement for you. I will do everything that is required, but let's get somebody to do this for you, because I don't think I'm best equipped for this. In fact, the time was so short, I had already started calling people in Bangalore who would be the most appropriate to deal with, and ask them to kind of start, moving towards the airport to come to Bombay at very short notice. When that managing director, actually, he said no. He said no. He said, I want you only to do it, Badri. I was actually scared. I mean, even in winter, I would have possibly been sweating that day, right? I was scared because I was not experienced, and it means a lot, right? Prosecution is not a joke, right? So I did whatever I could. I took help from a lot of seniors all over. Years later, he's still a very dear friend of mine, that person. I asked him, look, that day, when I was not experienced, I'm sure you could see through me that I was not experienced. And I myself came up to you telling, look, I think we need to get another person to work on this engagement. You said, no, Badri, I want you to do it. Why? I asked him, why did you say that? He said, look, Badri, I knew you were not prepared. I knew you were scared. And I was very sure, rather, I had complete faith that you will give it your best, because you didn't know and you were very scared and you wanted to do the best for me. So who else? Who else? You want to talk to people, you talk to whoever you want. I don't have to tell you who you want to talk to or not. I don't want to go to experts who knows everything. I want to work with you because I'm sure, rather, that scare in you and that openness in you to say, I don't know, let's work with somebody. I'm sure you will give it your best. And possibly I became a little emotional that day. And why I wanted to share this small instance with you, I mean, it has left a very strong impression in my mind. This possibly I was very open with him. Frankly, I was extremely open with him, saying, "Look, I don't know the subject. Rather, I may know the subject in theory, but if you're talking about prosecution and all, sorry, I don't know. I have never dealt with that in my life before." He said that openness in you is actually what I liked, and I was confident you will give it your best. Possibly these kind of experiences at various times as is what is kind of taken us in this direction of coining these four words called Ford and practicing it here. That instance is a very lasting kind of impression in my mind in terms of openness and demonstrate dependability. Okay, so here, like Madhukar sir said at the beginning, I don't think we'll have the time to talk about all the four parameters. I did speak about Ford because that is an acronym we use. We'll talk about possibly the word dependability today. What does that mean? How do we go about? Take some live examples of that and see how we can adapt those things into what we do on a daily basis. If required, we can talk about the other three parameters separately in a different discussion. Dependability means what? What does dependability really mean? I've made some notes of which is what I'm using. Dependability is something where I can trust you. Rather, as a client, you should be able to give him the confidence saying you are, okay, very simple example. Let me take it this way. It is not that I'm advising alone. I will help you implement it also. Because a lot of times in these advisory stuff, all of us go through this, right? The at times the number of disclaimers that we put in our legal opinions or the memos or the advice that we do are longer than the advice itself. Okay, there are reasons for it. I'm not denying that, but look at it as there are very good reasons, and we should do that also. I'm not saying don't do that, but look at it from a client's perspective. Look at it from a client's perspective. Is it serving his purpose? Because a lot of times advice is fantastic, but if I'm not able to implement, what is the use of it? Like take this Supreme Court ruling which came in 2013, the larger bench case in L&T and K Raja Development Corporation, where they said if there is a developer is selling a house to you, the work done up to the date of entering into the agreement is called in has already attained the form of immovable property. That is not subject to VAT. It is only the work that you do after from and after the date of entering into the agreement with him. Fantastic. Para 111, 65 STC 1. It's a fantastic ruling. Okay. You should read para 108, 9, 10, 11, 12. These are the 5 paragraphs which are extremely important in this ruling. Nonetheless, fantastic. But how do I implement? How do I implement? Now on 13th March, Priyanshu, I'm a developer. On 13th of March, Priyanshu signs an agreement with me to buy one apartment in the 10th floor. How do I determine till 12th of March how much of work was done? And in 15 days later, Mr. Madhukar agrees to buy one. So how do I determine the amount of work done in those up to that date? I mean, it's a very tough one, right? Theoretically, it's a fantastic ruling. But in practice, can I implement that? Actually, none of the states attempted to implement that at all in the VAT law. Having said that, why I took that example is dependability is not about advising alone. It is about walking my advice with you. Am I helping you implement it? Have I given you something which is implementable? Then I would believe I am dependable. I am solving a problem. Like, I think Mr. Madhukar only had told me once in some other context. He was sharing some old experience of his. I believe one of the clients, sir, I don't know if it is you or maybe somebody else, doesn't matter. Once I believe a client had told, saying, look, I want a consultant with one hand. Why? What is the thing? What is that all about? Because generally advice is it says on one hand it is so and so, on the other hand it is so and so. But as a client, what do I implement? What do I implement? Please tell me, what do I implement? Okay, so in a very lighter way, that CFO or whoever that was, he said, "Look, I want an advisor with one hand," like that. So unless my advice is implementable and I put my neck out to say I will implement it for you, I'm not too sure how dependable we are as an advisor, as a chartered accountant to our clients. Doesn't matter whether it is corporate law, whether it is Companies Act, tax, statutory audit or internal audit or RERA, doesn't matter what we're doing. But unless we are not able to kind of help the client implement, I think we have a little more distance to kind of cover to become that trusted lieutenant, trusted partner for our client in what they are looking for from us. That is one example of dependability. Maybe another one I would kind of say, there'll be different kind of situations that we kind of come across. In some situations, the expectation will be that we challenge it. In some situations, not to challenge, but to follow. In some situations, neither of them, but actually lead that entire thing. So being able to decide when to follow, when to lead, when to challenge, and doing that appropriately in that situation, in that circumstance, is another example of how dependable we are. Just imagine in a discussion where a decision is already taken. I am sharing my notes on that. I may disagree with few things, but nonetheless, there is a decision that is taken as a team. Now it is time to implement. If I'm continuously challenging that, where I'm expected to follow, of course I will give my notes, and it is in the collective wisdom a decision is being taken. After it is taken, yes, we should collectively implement it. Even at that stage, if I'm continuously challenging, then I'm not too sure how dependable as a person we are as far as our client is concerned. This is another example. I was about 5-6 years back. There was a new CFO who had joined a client of ours. I was having a discussion with him. I'd met him some 5-6 times. This was the next meeting I had. It was in the context of indirect tax, of course. That's my subject. So I was discussing with him. I said, look, we have these 3 options, A, B, C. If we do A, these are the pros and cons, this is the decision, this is the impact, this is the consequence, etc. A, B, C. And I believe we should do this for these reasons. So I kind of completed my discussion in that manner. What the CFO, the new CFO, told me actually zapped. He said, let's take option B, that is easier on compliance. Seriously? As a CFO, my parameter to decide which option I should choose is compliance, not the cost benefit analysis, not the profitability, not the interest of business. When did compliance become the most important factor to choose from? Unless it was discussed with the management, with the larger team, the strategic discussion. So actually, I never got the comfort saying it was discussed internally, but as much as I felt it was an extempore saying, okay, Badri, let's do this. Let's take this option B, man. It is easier on compliance, less on headache. I was taken aback. I couldn't digest the reaction and the parameter that was chosen to discuss, to decide which option to kind of implement. So yes, because we were working with those clients for a long time, and the CFO was new. I had the benefit, I had the luxury of dialing one of the management, say directors, and being able to talk to them. I had that relationship with them. So I said, look, I want to meet you for a coffee. He said, sure, let's meet. So when I met him, in fact, the first thing that he asked was, Badri, is it regarding the CFO? I said, kind of yes. He said, okay, tell me. So I told him, look, I'm not very comfortable. This is the kind of discussion we had. This is the parameter that was chosen. And I personally feel that is not the best of the parameters in that role. In that role. But yes, my objective of, he asked me, then why did you even propose option B? I said, look, I was presenting all the options and I gave you my recommendation also. You as in the team there. I told you my recommendation is option, say, A, right? But B was chosen. Here it is not about my ego saying I indicated A as a preference and he has chosen B. It's not about that. It's about business interest. It's about what is the best for the business that you're talking about. All this within the framework of law. So which is the best option to choose from? So he said, Badri, I agree. I'll see what I can do. Okay, what happened doesn't matter. But this is one example which I wanted to share with you, like the previous one, to say what is being dependable. Okay, what is being dependable? So how does it help you in your career? It is not only that you and I will become grounded professionals, those trusted lieutenants, and like Priyanshu in the first piece said, being that trusted business advisor for your clients. Apart from that, let me tell you, over the last 5-7 years, the relationship with that client is so strong that I more or less work with them as their head of tax. I actually go and participate in some management meetings also where tax is a parameter. So if I mean that I would believe is growth from from a professional standpoint also. So it is not about just being that grounded professionals, most trusted lieutenants, but it will also contribute to your material growth, being dependable. I'm sure each one of us, I don't think any of us on this discussion today will disagree that dependable is not an important parameter. Of course it is. I'm sure each one of us will kind of acknowledge that. Then why are we talking so much about it? My point is, are we adopting that in the way we carry ourselves, in the way we measure ourselves, in the way we are measuring the growth that we personally are seeing for ourselves, our team, our organization, the ecosystem that I live in, basically. Because unless we don't feel it, unless we are not able to measure it, okay, no use talking about any of these parameters. Because I heard from another very senior person recently, if you don't measure or if you can't measure, then you're not growing. Please digest this. Please make a note of this. If you don't measure or if you can't measure, then you don't know if you're growing. As simple as that. Measurement is an important aspect. Revenue, we know how to measure. Profit, we know how to measure. All those financial parameters we know how to. The non-financial parameters, FORD. We are talking about D today, being dependable. How do I measure this? How do I measure? So what we have done is we have kind of done some questionnaires. We have an inventory of some 25-30 questionnaires on each of these parameters. We pick and choose. Quarterly basis, we kind of see how we have measured, how we have performed on this as objective as possible. We measure ourselves to see on this question, what is our score from 1 to 5, 1 being the lowest, 5 being the best. So what are those possible questionnaires, questions? Before that, Priyanshu, how much of time do I have? How much more time?
Yes, you have time till 5.
I have 5 minutes.
Till 5. Till 5.
Till
5
5. All right. I have 10 minutes. Okay. Done. Thank you. So dependable. All right. So we have to look at this character, this aspect of ours vis-a-vis all the stakeholders that we work with. Our own team, the organization that I work for, the client that I work with, the other side of the table, which is tax office or company law board or the law itself, the law or the lawmaker. He also is one of the stakeholders. And fifth one, me and myself. also, right? These five, we should look at this one word in all the five aspects. How can we kind of perform better than the last time? Yeah. Dependable. Have I helped a colleague of mine, a team member of mine, either my peer, my junior, my senior, whoever, if there were hurdles at work, have I helped them overcome that? That is possibly one way of measuring this word, uh, emotion, dependable. Do I stick to my word? Do I live up to what I say? I said this on Monday, then suddenly there is something else that happened. I thought of something more. So next 10 days from now, I've changed. I've changed what I said. Of course, Supreme Court is also not spared. They become wiser by the day, like one of the judges had said. So I'm no exception. My wisdom 1 month back and today is different, hopefully. So my decision for the set of facts that were analyzed 1 month back or 6 months back versus today can possibly change. But being dependable does not mean don't change and stick to it. It means once you realize there is an improvement possible or there is a correction that is required, please state that. Say that, look, for these reasons, we had said this is what has to be done 6 months back, but actually consider 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think this is a better way to do it. Okay, that is being dependable. As a person, am I that? Or do I continue to argue what I told 6 months back? Continuing to prove what I told 6 months back, though things have changed and though I may not agree with that, is not dependable. So also, when it requires, when it, if I flip from what I've told, saying, no, I never said this, is also not dependable, right? Dependability requires transparency in the thinking that we are going through. So do consider this. Possibly whether I stick to my word, how many times can be a measure as objectively as possible. Do I deliver my work on time? That is one way that is one way of saying whether, Badri, are you dependable or no? In a lot of things that we do, there is never a precedence. Dr. Avinash will agree with me also, as tax guys. There is a lot of times there is no precedence. But am I a person who always sticks to precedence and say, this is what this ruling said, so this is the answer? Or am I thinking outside of that and saying, look, for this reason, I believe this ruling is applicable in this case, but for these reasons, I don't think we should apply it in our case also. This requires a change in thinking. This is the way we should kind of apply in our case this time. Do I hesitate taking positions which do not have precedence? That is also dependable. That doesn't mean I become callous and very aggressive. Calculated, mitigated, thoughtful, reasoned, these words, the result. Do I always stick to, am I hesitant to take positions which do not have precedence? Then I don't think I'm as dependable as you believe I should be. So keep that in mind. Learning is a continuous process. Very, very rudely put, the day a person tells, I know everything, there is nothing more to learn. Okay, thank you. I don't think I'll go back there for a discussion, an intelligent conversation or a discussion. It's a continuous process. So am I continuously learning? How do you assess that? Maybe just a random example, not the subject, but outside of the subject also. Technology, like Mr. Madhukar started the discussion with. There is so much of change happening, right? Technology. There is this app, there is this application called Liquid Text. Okay. Historically, conventionally, I am a person with paper. Even when I go to the tribunal or when I go to the tax office, I carry my files hard copy. Okay. I have been like that. So will you call me outdated, or will you call me stuck to the old principles and not wanting to do something new? Because liquid text is a fantastic application. If you guys have not tried, maybe give it a try. It kind of helps you open 10 files together, link one to the other. You click on the, like we put these post-its and make our notes on the face of the document. Liquid text helps us connect, make notes, draw what you want, write what you want. If I parallelly, if I have to look at two sheets together, it will help me look at it. 3 sheets, link this to that. So if I don't use it, what will you call me? Will you call me outdated, not moving with the way the world is moving? Then from a subject point of view, as a person, I don't think you should call me dependable enough. Okay, because if I'm stuck to the age-old way of doing things, then it can be a challenge, right? That is possibly one example of how we can attempt to measure ourselves. Do CFOs, do my clients, do my peers hold me in high esteem for the quality that I deliver? That is dependability. How often do I step out of my comfort zone? Okay, this is possibly linked to the thing that I told you. Do I always stick to precedence, something which has precedence, or do I come with my own thinking and say, look, we have to challenge this? Possibly connected to that. How often do I step out of my comfort zone? If I don't, it is like that computer liquid text example or sticking to precedence. I don't think you should consider me good enough on being dependable. Okay. How do I have time? Another way of kind of looking at what dependable means. Do I have enough time in the day to do unscheduled work, or am I sticking to my timetable? This is what I do for the day. Possibly one way of looking at this ethos, whether how dependable I am. These are some questions which these are some concepts, some aspects around which we have made questions, and we kind of measure ourselves at regular intervals to see whether we are improving on that or no. When somebody comes to me, when my team member comes to me, do I appreciate good work or do I find faults and yell at them? That is an aspect of whether I am, how dependable I am as a senior. That is when I look at it from my team member's point of view. From a tax officer, from the lawmaker on the other side, how dependable am I? Have I misrepresented? Then it's a challenge. Okay, I will argue, I will fight with you on facts, on law, everything, but not misrepresent. Okay, so that is possibly an aspect on how we could measure ourselves on how dependable we could be. When somebody makes a mistake, do I get angry? Tough, very tough to be called as a dependable person. Dependable does not in any way mean that I know the answer for everything whenever you ask, at the moment that you ask. That is not being dependable. That is possibly being hurriedly answering. Okay. The way I would look at it is, do you know how to get to the answer? An implementable one? An answer which the other person is looking up to you to be able to solve the problem? Then you are being dependable. Do you know how to get to the problem? It is not important that you know the problem always just then when it is asked. It is important for us to know how to get to the problem. Like I told you earlier, it is not necessary that I know the answer. I may not know the answer. Okay, let me tell you, a lot of times I've called my seniors to say, look, I have this challenge. What do I do? Do you believe that, look, this is what I propose to do? Do you also agree with this? Possibly, possibly. Like, if I don't know something, doesn't matter. I'll call up Dr. Avinash Podar and ask him saying, sir, this is the case. This is what I think we should do. Do you agree with this? That when I give an all-rounded answer, implementable one to my client, that is when you can possibly say I am dependable, and I will score better on being dependable in whatever I am working with you always. So it's 5. I'll just take one thing before I kind of close for the day. You're in any discussions, in any person you wish to speak with, in any conversation that you want to get into, any meeting that you have to get into, be rest assured your reputation precedes you. In the sense, your reputation would have already reached there where before you reach the meeting. So you have to decide what you want to be known for. Okay, financial parameters aside. Okay, the non-financial is what I'm talking today, dependability. Do you want to be known as a short-tempered, not so dependable guy? Because your reputation will reach that meeting before you. So you please decide what you want to be known for, and demonstrate and live those parameters accordingly. Priyanshu, that was on dependability from my side. Hope it was useful. Let me know what next.
Okay.
I'm here for questions. Hello, sir. Avinash, sir. Good morning. Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening, sir.
Thank you very much, sir, for your impactful deliberation and session. So we sincerely appreciate your valuable time and enlightening this address. So now, as the time is going on for the webinar, we now move on towards the next insightful session. It is my pleasure to introduce our next eminent speaker, CA Avinash Podarji, who will be addressing the participants on the topic hard work, consistency, and integrity necessary for the professional. See, Avinash Podarji is a highly respected professional with more than 25 years of rich experience, including 17 years as a practicing chartered accountant and thereafter as a distinguished advocate. He has extensive expertise across GST, customs, direct tax, corporate laws, RERA, IBC, cybercrime, arbitration, and various other legal and regulatory domains. He regularly appears before the Honorable Supreme Court, various high courts, National Company Law Tribunal, and National Company Law Applied Tribunal, and other judicial forums, and has argued more than 2,000 matters, including several landmark cases. A prolific author and a passionate educator, he has delivered over 1,500 lectures at national and regional conferences and authored numerous books on taxation and professional development, including a motivational book, Unleash Your Hidden Potential. His journey reflects that very value of hard work, consistency, and integrity that define true professional excellence. Sir, we are delighted to have you with us today. May I request you to kindly deliver your session? Thank you. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Priyanshuji. At the outset, let me thank the committee for giving me this opportunity, for choosing me, considering me worth to be part of this wonderful initiative, bridging the mindset gap, because this is something which is very relevant as on day, because there are a lot of things which is perceived, but which is not a reality. After listening to Badrinath some of the notes which I have taken, I've changed that notes because I'll be delivering on a subject which is followed by me. Rather, I am following this hard work and consistency since last 25 years. But there were a lot of things which needs the introspection, and therefore this opportunity has helped me a lot. Honestly, I'm saying this, it has helped me a lot to go back to the memory lines, to go back to the earlier days of my career, and to see what mistakes were there, and how those mistakes have been handled, how better it could have been done, and therefore the endeavor of the committee to handhold the young professionals, as per me, is a wonderful initiative. And I cannot say I'll be able to deliver what is expected by the committee and Madhukar sir, but I'll try my best to share my lifetime experiences of 25, 26 years of my professional journey. The first thing, before I start, I would like to ask one thing which I think the participants may get uncomfortable with this query. But this query is very apt, and therefore we have to consider this query going forward. My request and question to all of you would be, just think about your last 6 months of the profession. There may be many days wherein the options would have been before you, whether to do a right thing with the application of right knowledge and at the right time, and with the capability that you have, or to do a wrong thing, not following your traits, not following your professional knowledge. Maybe because the client was small, because you were considering the client to be small, so therefore need not be given that much of importance and time should not be devoted. Maybe because the deadlines were too far, so therefore we were in a restful mode. We were not in that hurry, or maybe in that energy level was low, or maybe because nobody was going to check this. In any of these situations, if we are falling, and if we are considering the option, which is the second option of not following the right path, if any of the participants have experienced this, kindly note it down, because that may help us when we are doing the introspection part, maybe after this session or within this session. Now, one thing is very clear, that we all are capable and knowledgeable. So therefore, knowledge is not a problem. The problem is hard work and the consistency, and maybe the perception with which we see the term hard work and the consistency. So therefore, my endeavor today is to share my experience of how to handle the hard work, whether hard work is really working for hours and hours together, or something different, or it is like today's youngsters are saying, hard work is nothing but a smart work has to be there. So whether smart work can help us in profession, or it is hard work, but systematic hard work. So that is the endeavor which I would wish to share with all of you. Now, one thing is very clear. If there is a problem, like Badrinath ji was also sharing of dependability, when you will become dependable. Similarly, I would also say that there is a reputation of every professional. And when we are supporting or backing that reputation with a consistent hard work, it converts into, or rather, I would say, the reputation gets compounded. Whereas if we fail to do that, and if, let's say, once we create a reputation, but we are unable to maintain that, or we are unable to back that reputation with the hard work or the consistency, then in that case, I'm afraid that that compounding will become a mediocrity. You will be a mediocre. You cannot be a professional which is respected, which is named and recognized and honored everywhere. So therefore, that is something which is very important, and how it has to be dealt with. First term which I've mentioned, there are three terms which I would like to address here. More specifically, the value would be hard work and consistency. So what is hard work? Is it a 18-hour work per day? That is hard work. Or it is bringing yourself to the fullest of your ability, to your full ability. That is hard work. your thinking, the way you prepare, the way you are attending the issues or the queries, or maybe your daily professional endeavors, every professional engagement that you are taking care of, irrespective of the size, irrespective of the fees that it is catering to the organization, what weightage is there? As per me, if it is a small assignment or if it is a larger, let's say a thousand or lakh crore company, turnover company is there, and you are doing an assignment for them. As per me, if you are working to the fullest of your abilities and capabilities, that is hard work. Meaning thereby consistently applying a thinking process or the way in which you execute the work. It should be one and the same. You should not compare and then deliver as per the different standards for different clients. That should not be there. So therefore, now let us come to consistency. Why I've included this term consistency, the reason is this. When hard work becomes a habit, when hard work becomes a habit, forget it whether you are working for 8 hours or you are working for 18 hours. It all depends on person to person. You are not supposed to. When we were doing CA, there were a lot of people who were reading for 10 hours, 15 hours, and we were getting afraid because of that. I used to play for my state. I used to go for music competitions, and over and above that I used to study for chartered accountancy also. Therefore it is not required that you compare, or if somebody is working for 18 hours, we also are supposed to work for 18 hours. That is not required. Required is you try to inculcate the hard work as a habit within you. That is what I have tried to follow. And whenever, so what will happen? You will not say that it is a hard work. It will become your habit. It will become a routine. And once it becomes a routine, consistency will automatically come. Let's say if you are doing something which is very challenging on a daily basis, if you are following a routine on a daily basis, specifically when nobody is seeing and nobody is watching on that, automatically the consistency will come. So therefore, for excellent professional work, I personally have followed this strategy that I'll do what the others are not doing, or I'll follow a path which I feel is right for me. It took time. Certainly, it took very much time, and there were a lot of criticism also, because a lot of fellow colleagues were very successful in terms of money, in terms of their glamour and all those things which I considered as not that much relevant at that point in time. It took time, but once I developed that as a habit of working hard, consistency automatically came. And when the consistency was there, I'll say the purpose of this bridging the mindset gap, one of the values is that you have to deliver high quality work, and that too consistently. So therefore, if you are doing, let's say, an audit, if you are doing a very hard work in that particular audit, and in every audit you are giving the same kind of weightage, whether it is a 1 crore company or whether it is a 100 crore company or 1000 crore company, the same weightage and the same methodology has been followed. So slowly and gradually this will become this hard work which you believe that for 1 crore company it is going to be very easy for me, and for 1000 crore company it is going to be hard. But if the methodology being followed in all these type of companies of having multiple crores of turnover or the nominal turnover, automatically this hard work will become your habit. And once it becomes your habit, you will develop the consistency, and then therefore the consistency, as per me, is one of the most important professional behavioral value, and it has to be followed stringently and strictly. Just remember the old days when you were studying chartered accountancy, when we started practicing, when we were learning a software, what we used to do earlier, first we were trying to develop a habit of reading for whatever time we were having after the articleship. Once that habit was inculcated and it was inbuilt in us, then the thing which paid off to us was consistency, because we consistently followed that hard work habit, and therefore the result, favorable result, because of which we all are here calling ourselves to be a chartered accountant, is because of that habit and because of that consistency. Let me give one or two examples. On consistency, if one name which comes to my mind is Sachin Tendulkar. We all are aware he was not that much qualified. So qualification is just a beginning. That is a stepping stone. After that, hard work and consistency is what pays. So getting into the qualification of being a cricketer, he worked very hard, and he has not stopped working hard after becoming a successful or after getting the entry into the Indian international team. He consistently worked for 3 decades, almost 24 years. He has played for this country. He has played for our country for 24 years consistently. And for him, daily he was going for the practice in nets. And he was practicing in net. On day one also, he was practicing on the same like strength. And the anxiety was same, or maybe the zeal with which he was playing on the first day was same when he was playing on the last day. So therefore, this hard work of practicing on nets became his habit, and consistently he followed that habit, and he became so successful that now people are naming him as God of cricket. That has happened, and that can happen to us also. I can give another example of Girish Ahuja sir, of Madhukar Hirangange sir, of Ashok Batraji. There are a lot of such professionals. Arvind Datar sir. There are lots and lots of such professionals who are at the realm today because of their habit, because of their hard work. So hardware cannot be I will say it cannot be measured. Once you inculcate that and become, and that becomes your habit, automatically you keep on continuing with this. So the answer could be, once you reach the pinnacle on the height, you need not leave your passion or from where you started. So every day you will have to start fresh, considering that you will have to do the same hard work with the same kind of consistency, and that will convert into an integrity once it is there. I'll come to that also at the end of the session. This is the first thing which, first name that comes to my mind is Sachin Tendulkar in my example. And therefore the learning from this would be that talent can get you a qualification. We are a chartered accountant, so therefore that shows that we are qualified. But hard work and consistency is important for building a career. He followed that, and therefore that became his career. I'll give my example. I was not good in indirect taxes. One of my colleagues said that now direct tax has a lot of senior professionals, a lot of experts are there. So entering into the realm of direct tax will be difficult. In indirect tax, in those days on excise and service tax, there were very few professionals who were venturing into this indirect tax practice. And you will not believe, in 2006 or 2007, after I left my software company, when I started practice, I gave the assignment of service tax registration to one of my colleagues, because I was not confident enough to get that registration done of service tax for my CA form. And then slowly and gradually I started, when my colleague said that in spite of concentrating on the direct taxes, you start concentrating on service tax. Maybe GST is going to see the light of the day. I'm talking about 2007-8. At that point in time, the discussions had already started. So it will be better for you that you will be the first, you will be in the beginning of the process of the GST implementation. That clicked to my mind and I started working on this. I started learning. After the 10 years of my practice, I started learning indirect tax. I started filing service tax returns. I started the for the appeals, and slowly and gradually I started appearing before the state authorities. The point which I'm trying to say is I continued that for years from 2008 till 2017. I was recognized, but not to a large extent. But yes, my fellow professionals, many of the branches were started calling me for service tax lectures and all. But because of that hard work and consistency, it helped me in developing my career, in building a career as a litigator once GST was announced. Because in 2016, when the model GST law came, I read that, and I think we started. Badrinath ji will agree that there were few professionals who started delivering sessions, delivering lectures at the very inception of the implementation of GST. I am happily now today I can say very proudly that I was one of them. But that consistency or that hard work was from 2008. 2008 till 2017, consistently I worked for that. Then thereafter, I started recording my videos, taking sessions, going to different places. Also met with an accident. A lot of things has happened. But the point here is we continued with that. I am not claiming that I am a successful professional today. I am not claiming I am a GST expert. I do not claim anything of that sort. But yes, that has paid me off. That is what I'm trying to say. That though that hard work and consistency has helped me in building my career. There are many players like Sachin Tendulkar or maybe better than him, more talented than him. Talent or having a chartered accountant qualification is not sufficient, sir. Over and above being a chartered accountant, you need to follow this habit, this value of hard work and consistency on a regular basis so as to build your career. So career building differs from man to man. Everybody might be having a different understanding of that. But as per me, if you want to build a successful career, you have to be having the follow, and you need to follow the trait of hard work and consistency. The second example which comes to my mind again from India is Narayan Murthy. Now he started, everybody is aware, he started his company, the software company, with a capital of 10,000 rupees. Can anybody believe that a person starting a company of 10,000 rupees from a capital of 10,000 rupees will become such a large company, recognized all across the world? So he again has followed the same thing. He was not having clients, he was not having any reputation in the market, but still he kept on working hard. And this is recorded. There are a lot of videos on that he worked for 18, 19 hours per day initially to make his reputation, to get a recognition. So therefore, we professionals also need to follow this. Why I'm saying so? After starting a practice, why a client will come to you and give you a work? You will have to consistently knock the door of that particular client. And one day when you are performing that activity consistently, maybe for 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 4 year, 5 year down the line, one day will come that the same client will get, he will have the appeal that yes, now I should go to Mr. Podar, because the credibility I have built because of the consistency in my professional attire, professional attitude. So initially, nobody is going to pay you. Initially, nobody is going to come to you. But you will have to consistently work on this, keep your presence felt, make people aware that yes, I am there and I am following this. And this is what I am doing on a regular basis. Slowly and gradually, your credibility is going to be there. And once your credibility is there, certainly the people will accept you and you will get that result. Exactly this is what I have followed. Because when I have already mentioned that I completed CA in 99 to 2000. Thereafter, I started my practice. Thereafter, I ventured into a software company. I again went back to, or I came back to the practice in 2008. 2008 till today, I focus only on one thing, that I need to accumulate knowledge, give consistent quality work, and show to the people, to the clients, to the outside world that yes, I am able of performing it. This helped me in gaining credibility. people started accepting my name that yes, okay, Mr. Podar is good in litigation. He can handle our case. The moment you will get this credibility, I'll say that you are now benchmarking towards the career path or towards the successful career build. It will again take, because once you reach there, then again a lot of efforts which you are giving for these many years, you will have to continue. Otherwise, this is a profession. The moment you start, Badrinath ji was also saying, if somebody says no, that he knows everything, it is an indication that now the last step he has already taken, and now he has accepted that he do not require to learn anything further. In profession, we cannot, I'll say, afford that. We cannot afford this even for a single day. And like I am in GST, sir is in also in indirect taxes. Daily, every second the law changes. Every second there is one or the other the judgment. So we can never say that this section we are aware of, because that section has thousands of interpretation. At every mood, at every point in time, there can be a different interpretation. So therefore, this is the reason that I felt that this is something which is extremely important. I'll give two scenarios, and Priyanshu ji, मेरे पास कितना time है? How much time I have?
So you have time. No, so we can close till 6.
Okay, fine.
Have 10 minutes for the queries, and
Yeah, so I have 15 minutes. I'll say this. I have 15 minutes. I'll try to cover by 5:45 maximum. Now, we are talking about bridging the mindset gap. So therefore, we need to also understand, as a chartered accountant, we need to understand what is the mindset. Today, what is the mindset of youngsters? What is the mindset of seniors? What is the mindset of super seniors? Having 30 years, 40 years, 50 years of practice. One is efforts. We have a mindset that if it is a large organization, if Reliance is coming to us, or maybe Wipro is coming to us, or some large organization, so we have a higher responsibility, and therefore we need to give more time. If a small fellow comes to us, chalega, it's okay, we can manage it. That should not be there. That is the first gap. Because as I said, for hard work, for making hard work as a habit, we have to consider all assignments, all clients at the same pedestal. We cannot differentiate between a larger organization, or see, assignment gap can be, or assignment tenure can be extended. But what I can say, but the force with which the assignment has to be delivered, or the parameters on the basis of which the assignment has to be delivered, must be common in all cases, whether it is a large professional, a large firm, or it's a small firm, a small organization. Second gap, which I have just imagined and observed, is the burst and pause pattern. Many of us, I have observed, and rather I was also doing the same thing when I was in practice as a chartered accountant. There were months called peak season, and then there were relaxing season. So what we were extremist. We used to do extreme work. When this was peak season of audits and filing of income tax returns, we worked till 3 a.m., 4 a.m. in the morning. And when there was a off season, as per us, we were so relaxed that shortest of the assignment also, or the smallest of the assignment also, we were either not delivering, or we were just saying we'll do it, or the focus was not there. The kind of focus when it was in the peak season, it was not there. So that burst and pause pattern, that when peak season as per you is there, you are bursting, and when off season is there, you are pausing. That should not be there. For 365 days, throughout the period with which, or within which you are practicing, or for which you are going to practice, I personally believe Monday to Friday, if you are working 5 days a week, Monday when you have started your day, your week, and Friday when you are closing your week, you should have same way of working. Meaning thereby, whether it is a peak day, whether it is an off day, whatever. See, we are on vacations. In Gujarat High Court, Karnataka High Court, Bombay High Court, there are vacations going on. But it doesn't mean that we will not come to office. It doesn't mean that we will not complete the work which is essential. But yes, certainly we can have relaxation to an extent. When it is an off season, as per the fellow professional, then he can certainly relax. But his routine should not be relaxed. If he is in office, then he should follow this same routine. If he is traveling, if he is on vacations going for with family, then it's okay. Otherwise, he should do consistent assignments. Maybe now, earlier he was doing on in 3 days, now he can do in 6 days. He can take that liberty. But the point which I'm trying to raise here is that the quality should not be compromised. The method in which he was delivering in that peak season, the same method should be adopted in the off season, and the same quality and the same consistency should be there. Third gap which I have observed is there are a lot of professionals, a lot of chartered accountants, young professionals who are working very hard, but they do not have direction. They are directionless. What to do? So therefore, the strategy is important, and therefore I will suggest one thing which I personally do. I follow a schedule. This is this kind of chart I am preparing for the month. Every month, I write down what I have to do. Maybe there are some aspects which I may not consider to be very appealing to me. I am not happy with that, but still that is there in my schedule, that is there in my chart, and I complete that. So the point here is, if we have to find a direction, we need to sit down and note down. Specifically, when nobody is watching us, we'll have to sit down and note down that what are the things that we consider as to be the toughest, what are the things that is a common thing that we have to do on a regular basis. We need to list down, and once in a day, or rather I will say daily, we have to do one thing which we consider as to be the toughest. I'll give one example. I was just drafting a writ, like my office is drafting a writ, which is considered to be complicated. So I said, we'll do it tomorrow. Because every day, if you see, try to understand one thing. Badrinath was mentioning about one habit, goal habit, wherein he was saying that if something cannot be measured, it is not a goal. He gave in a different context, but measurement was important. So therefore, we also need to measure that if this is an assignment which we have to do, how much time it will take. Similarly, on a daily basis, I need to choose one thing. If we are fortunate enough that we are getting or having those challenges, so we need to select that thing which is most complicated or tough as per us, and we need to do it. So therefore, one chart, or we need to sit back and prepare a chart which can say that this is the minimum standard which I'll follow. That will create this. The moment you will finalize this minimum standard card, you will stop compromising. You will follow that minimum standard card. That will become your habit. So creating this minimum standard card is tough, and therefore it will get covered into the hard work perspective value. But the moment you will start doing it on a daily basis, sir, this shows my capability. You all can see there are a lot of reds into it. Lot of reds are into it. So this is an evaluation which I am doing on myself, that why these reds are pointing out that you are not capable of doing these things. But no matter, I have followed a minimum standard that yes, this is what I'll do. To whatever extent possible, I need to follow that. And if I follow it, believe me, friends, I have done this. I have followed this since last many years. This will help us a lot. This really helps us. I was giving an example of a writ which I was doing. So there is one thing which is procrastination, and there is another thing which is deferring a matter for the time being so that you can start afresh, because that was a complicated issue. We cannot handle 5 complicated, as at least me. This is my limitation. Maybe I do not have that much of the capability. So I cannot handle complicated issues, multiple complicated issues on a single day. So what I need to do is I need to distribute those complicated 5 issues into 5 different days. so that each day I can complete one complicated issue and rest of the pattern of my routine that I need to work upon. So that needs to be worked upon. We need to write down physically on a paper. Forget about this computer and AI and everything. We need to write down, because that is something which I have learned from my seniors, and therefore I am sharing this. The best is the moment you will start writing down, it will register in your mind, in your subconscious, and the moment it will register in your subconscious, it will changing you doing it. You're not doing it. If you write on Excel and computer, there is no effort as per me. And once that is done, I am of the view that it may not be that effective as effective it would be when it is written down. So therefore, daily one hard thing you should practice. So that hard thing which you consider as hard will become a routine. And once it gets into a routine, like Sachin Tendulkar, when practicing in nets, it was his routine for 4 hours, 6 hours, it was his routine. So that became his habit. And once it became his habit, he consistently followed that habit and became so successful. The same can be daily, do one hard thing, and rest of the practice you can follow. Please avoid season-proof calendar. That peak season, off season, there is nothing called peak season and off season. You distribute your work. Yes, I can understand that there are a lot of assignments which are coming on the last day. There are a lot of things which come on the last day, where specifically when it comes to audit or maybe the income tax return filing. But our practice is not nowadays is not restricted only to audit and income tax filings. There are a lot of advisories that we have to do. So those advisories we can have in the off season that we consider as an off season. All those things that we want to develop for our practice, we need to focus on newer areas. We can start focusing on that during the off season, and then in the peak season, we obviously we do not have that much of time to think something new. So all those new things should be considered during the off season. Apply your mind, develop your practice, and build a brand. So that is how it is that season proof calendar should be avoided. Please do not do that. And one thing that I'll suggest is, please do not follow the argument of automation, the argument of AI going to take over chartered accountants. Please do not rely on that. Continuously keep on working hard, sharpen your skills, because an AI or a software can never replace a chartered accountant. Chartered accountant's work or assignment starts where AI fails. The point which I am trying to point out is, an activity which is a routine activity, which is error prone activity, or which is dependent on the manual effort, that can be converted, or I'll say automized, by way of utilization of artificial intelligence tools. But a technology can never replace a professional who is continuously applying his mind, applying his contextual judgments, and able to give better advices, better tax plannings, better perspective to grow, better options to, I will say, to strategize your growth of business. These things can be done only by chartered accountants, not by AI. So therefore, please do not get carried away with this argument of automation. Automation has came. Now chartered accountants are going to be replaced. Now there will be no requirement of the lawyers. No judges will be hearing you. Everything will be on AI. No, sir, nothing is going to happen, because AI is also developed by a human being. And I have a strong feeling that 110% there would be a chartered accountant involved into this, because VCAs are involved everywhere. So please do not get carried away with the argument of automation. Second, the transition of consultancy is important. Please do not only rely upon. So therefore, again, I'll say, I followed this. See, the purpose of having this Bridging the Mindset series is to share our experience. Badrinath ji has shared his experience. So this is what we have learned in last 26 years, that We have to develop ourselves as a consultant, as an advisors. We are advisors. We are auditors. Certainly, we are auditors. We are tax filers. We are tax compliers. Everything is there. We are litigators. Everything. But at the same time, we are advisors. Therefore, we should develop a habit of being an advisor. And trust me, friends, developing that habit of being an advisor requires a lot of hard work, because regularly you will have to be updated not only with the subject you are dealing, but also on the allied laws, on the allied subjects, because you cannot advise an organization or a startup only with GST. Then your role will be very restricted. You have to give a 360-degree advice, which includes income tax, which includes other allied laws, which include labor laws. So therefore, you have to read. You have to work consistently. You'll have to work hard. And once you start doing it, you will be able to develop the consistency habit, that, and thereafter the you can get transitioned into the consultancy area also. Now going to the concluding aspect, but before that I'm just giving two scenarios and then I'll conclude. One is, this is what I used to do as a bad habit, and thereafter I'll share what I used to do as a good habit. So therefore, two scenarios. One, a small person is coming to you having a turnover, let's say 100 crores. In today's time, 100 crores is nothing. So having a turnover of 100 crores, he comes to you. Now, there is an assignment of GST turnover reconciliation. You have reconciled the entire turnover, but there is one amount of, let's say, 20,000 rupees, which you are unable to reconcile. You are find that in there is a difference of 2A and 3B or whatsoever, and there is a difference of 20,000 rupees, which, and he has a turnover of 100 crores. And it is the fag end of the day. I'll say weekend also. What generally we do, we'll say at बहुत छोटा amount है 100 crores में, it's only 20,000, let it be. Let it be. This is one attitude. We let it go. We say, ठीक है, 20,000 is okay. We have reconciled 100 crores. It is 20,000 rupees only. जब आएगा तब देख लेंगे. This is one attitude. The second attitude is considering the question which can come, or considering the question which is apt and relevant. That what will happen if for this 20,000 rupees he receives a notice at a later point in time? What answer you will give to yourself, that because I wanted to save time and I wanted to rush back to my home, I compromised on this 20,000 rupees? There can be a yes. Now the argument can be, sir, he was calling me again and again, and he was saying, today I need the acknowledgement of return of reconciliation. Because of that, I have uploaded it, sir. 20,000 rupees is the only gap. That can be one of the excuses that we give to ourselves. Sir, the other option can be, we can call him, we can inform the person that, look, sir, although it is the last time, but I am not convinced and there is a difference of 20,000 rupees. And since there is a difference of 20,000 rupees, I have a habit of not uploading any data unless I am satisfied that reconciliation is rightly done. The same I am following in my office. So therefore, this is the second scenario, that we need to fight it out. Inform the client, sir, I will not be able to upload it today. Now it is the end of the day. Tomorrow I'll come with the fresh mind. I'll again restart the reconciliation. Once it is reconciled, I'll upload it. Sir, please appreciate the after effects of this. If he receives a notice of this 20,000 rupees because you have compromised, he will see, reputation takes years to build. You need to build reputation in years. 20 years it will take, and it will take 5 minutes to ruin that particular reputation. So this habit of compromising can damage your reputation. At the same time, if you call him and say, sir, we'll upload tomorrow, we'll reconcile everything first and then we'll do it. Sir, the client may get annoyed at that point in time, but he will always appreciate that you have honestly worked on your assignment. So that is called hard work. And when this will become your habit, consistently, if you will perform in this way, sky is the limit. Sky is the limit, friends, because the all clients, because this is mouth publicity, the client will say, my chartered accountant is so serious about his assignment that 20,000 difference also he has reconciled and then uploaded. So therefore, I'll say any hard work, when it is applied to small matters, 20,000 rupees, it's not charity. We are not doing charity. Rather, it is most efficient form of practice. I'll give my example. In my office, when writ is being prepared, client keeps on calling because client is always in hurry. I follow two principles. One, if he will say it is urgent, sir, except bail, there is nothing urgent as per me in taxation or recovery. If recovery is initiated, then it becomes urgency. If his bank account is attached, it becomes urgency. Or if he is behind the bars and bail is to be filed, it becomes an urgency. Otherwise, for normal matters of writ codes or maybe the tax appeals, nothing is urgent. So once the client will say it is urgent, I'll say now it goes into the pending box. It will be taken up after 20 days, 30 days, because nothing is urgent as per me. That means you are pointing out that I'm not serious about my assignments. I'm not serious about the work which is given to me. That is not the case. I also need to prioritize the things. What is more priority, more of priority, and therefore I'll start doing work for that. So that is one thing. Second is, unless I'm satisfied, because see, client will sign the writ and it will be uploaded, or tax appeal, it will be filed. Who is going to argue that? I am going to argue. If court will ask certain questions of which I am not confident, I will not be able to answer, no. So therefore, I very categorically, my entire team is aware about that. Unless I am satisfied, the writs cannot be finalized. The appeal cannot be finalized. In couple of the cases, they have started doing that. They will finalize and they will upload on their own. Because it will, if it will come to me and if it will get stuck, then it will take couple of weeks or maybe couple of days. So the point here is, once you start following this and stringently you are following the path that you have selected or written down for yourself, that you are not going to compromise on this. Slowly and gradually, it will become your habit. And a habit can be certainly utilized for the future growth. I'll now conclude by saying 2-3 things. And this is what is going to be conclusive. When hard work and consistency are practiced long enough, without any vouching, without any audience, without any pressure, it becomes integrity. Because that is your integrity. Because you will follow your standard. You have noted down one standard which you are following. I will not upload anything which is not reconciled, even if it is the smallest of the figure. I will not do it. Even if there is a smallest of the argument, but if I'm not convinced with that argument, I will not upload it. So if we'll start following this, then obviously it will get converted into the larger perspective, larger picture, which is integrity, on which our profession is based. And integrity is not separate. It is not a separate practice. It is a practice when nobody is watching you and you are doing the right thing. When nobody is examining, when nobody is questioning you, when nobody is there to hear you, and you are following the right law. If nobody is stopping at the red light and you are stopping there, you may seem to be a fool, but that is the integrity that you have. And once you start following this value, as per me, of the hard work and consistency, integrity is automatically going to come. And therefore, I'll conclude saying this, that it is a reputation that hard work and consistency earn over time and under pressure. The hard work and consistency helps you to earn the reputation. But important is converting this, following this habit, this value, and getting it into the larger perspective, or larger value, which is the value of integrity on which our profession is based. This will be the closing remark for me today. Every chartered accountant who is there in this hall, in this audience, has an excellent knowledge, no doubt about it. The qualification of chartered accountancy ensures that, because without this, without knowledge, we cannot become a chartered accountant. But what the qualification does not assure is that we are having the full knowledge every time, and we apply the knowledge that we have to every client on every file. This is something which is missing. And once we start doing for every assignment, that is called hard work. And when a hard work is repeatedly being done, that becomes consistency. And when the hard work and consistency get intermingled, and this is for a long duration, then people start pointing out finger on you, and they will say, rather they will recognize not what you do, not because you are a chartered accountant, but they will start appreciating of what you are. That means a person of high integrity. With this, I'm extremely thankful to the committee, to Madhukar sir, to Priyanshu ji, my learned co-speaker, and all the participants. Thank you very much. I hope I have added some value.
Yes, yes. Sir, you are on mute. Badri sir, you are on mute.
Priyanshu ji, sir, Avinash sir, it was wonderful. I had made for a short of time, I didn't use that one word. You very well explained that consistency. Consistency is what will make a person dependable. Sir, with your permission, sir, I'll just take one thing. You mentioned about, for everybody, sir mentioned about Tendulkar and the consistency, right? Frankly, there is so much to understand from that one thing that Dr. Podar said. What I've read about is that Vinod Kambli, that name rings a bell in our head. He was a
Much more.
better batsman than Tendulkar, but consistency is what made the difference. Consistency is what has made the difference. It is so important. On hard work, sir told what it means. I'll give you one example of mine. Sir, with your permission, I'm sorry, sir, Podar sir.
Arre, sir, please go ahead.
All of you would have heard of this name Padam Kincha. He's a legend in direct tax matters. For the kind of experience that he has, he can recite income tax law, even if you wake him up in the middle of the night. Correct. But whenever I've met him, whenever when my classes and later and all. Any question you ask, he says, get the act, he'll open, read the provision and tell you. Once out of curiosity, I asked him, sir, you must, for what you are, you know the law. So why do you want to read the book always? Read that provision always. He said, look, Badri, experience has taught me how to read it faster. It never told me don't read.
Great.
It is so important for all of us to understand, right? So it is extremely important. That is one. And just last thing, sir. Padarji told, we should be with the same amount of energy, whether it's Monday or Friday. With this, the so-called, I hear it from my daughter also. All these guys, they say work-life balance, the so-called Gen Z. Trust me, I don't like that expression. Not because I don't believe in it, but more importantly, I'll put it this way. As long as you enjoy what you're doing, as long as you've fallen in love with what you're doing, that expression will not come to your mind.
Absolutely.
The fact that has come to your mind, it means you have to relook at what you enjoy, what you're doing. That's all.
Correct, sir.
It's so important. And frankly, I tell this to my daughter. Whenever I tell her something, she said, no, I don't like doing this. So my point to her is, if you don't like doing it, then trust me, 9 out of 10 times it's a good habit. Because good habits, none of us like. Podarji showed one statement, right? He called it minimum standard card. But it is very irritating to do that, yeah. I'm sure Podarji went through that same experience and emotion when he started that.
I started, then I stopped, then I again started.
Correct.
A lot of times
Correct,
I've
sir.
done.
Correct. My point to all of you is, if you don't like doing something, no, trust me, 9 out of 10 times it's a good habit. And for that reason, you should do it.
Very true. Very true.
Yes.
Hanji.
So thank you very much, sir, for the enriching and inspiring session. So your practical insights, real life experiences, and powerful messages on hard work, consistency, and integrity had deeply motivated all the participants. The clarity and the passion with which you connected the professional success with personal values and was truly remarkable. So we sincerely thank you for sharing your valuable knowledge and experiences today. So there are one or two questions that I would like to ask from you, from the participants. So first, Avinash, sir, do you believe today's professionals are overskilled technically but underprepared mentally for long-term success?
I don't think so. Yes, certainly they are overskilled. When compared to our days, a lot of resources are there, a lot of opportunities are there, a lot of different perspectives are there. But yes, somewhere hard work is observed because everything is now there on Google or AI. So in spite of working hard, because when we were asked to search a particular case law, we were selecting the books, we were trying to find out from those books. Now it is Google and AI. They use it. No harm in using this, and that is not going to demean the profession or their professional abilities. But after that, once you get that resource, then understanding that resource and utilizing that resource to the fullest of the ability is where the success will lie. And that is where I do agree to, and to some extent, to not to a large extent, that youngsters are missing that because they are only relying on the head notes or only relying on the shortest way. They are not working on the larger route or the longer route that they should focus upon.
Okay, so Badrisa, the next one is for you. Why do some clients openly share business challenges with certain CAs while hiding information from others? Does the Ford mindset include the this trust factor?
Sir, I would kind of put it this way. I agree. I agree. A lot of them are like that. Why does somebody see? It's like this. Um, if somebody say Priyanshu and I are thickest of the friends, if he doesn't have the confidence to share his anxieties with me, then I am not dependable. I am not dependable. Okay.
Hmm.
So somewhere something, some taste that we have left behind with that person may not be in the right, may not be the best of the taste, which is why he is a little hesitant to share with me the entire thing. And that is something that we should work on. Why is that happening? It is not that you and I should get angry saying, was he sharing that with Dr. Podar, is not sharing that with me. But actually take it as, was what is the taste? In which experience did I give him a wrong taste that he is not sharing it with me? And what should I do? This is a real case. Your question is factual, and I'll not be surprised if it happens in more than 50% of the cases. But if you are, I'll copy the words Dr. Podar said. If you are consistently demonstrating what you are and who you are, he will share it with you. He will share it with you. Okay. And this is one of my recent learnings. Whenever we want to judge a person, please judge. I mean, I don't like judging, but if you want to assess what kind of a person he is, take the last 2 years, not last 20 years.
Right.
Right? All of us grow. So last 2 years is what is the latest for me to tell what kind of a person Priyanshu is, right? In and if that is good, if you're leaving a good taste, again, I'll copy the word consistently, there is no reason for people not to share. It is possibly a case to introspect as to, boss, why is he not sharing with me? I'm
All
not
right.
too sure if I answered your question, but please, that's a case for introspection.
So this is the last one for Avinash, sir. What are the silent habits that slowly damage professional integrity without professional without professionals even realizing it?
See, I'll answer this question in this way. Professional integrity has nothing to do with the person's integrity.
Very true.
You need to create your own value chain and follow that. Once you start following your value chain, you are in integrity. Professional qualification and professional integrity has certain parameters which should be followed by a professional. Whether that should be followed in the right spirit or not is to be decided by the person. And therefore, first the person should be in integrity to be into the professional integrity. Otherwise, if we do not appreciate that he has to be in integrity or he has to follow the value chain which he has created for himself from his experiences of life mixed with the experience of studies, I am of the view that the professional integrity cannot be defined. So therefore, they will start doing it. I am sure that most of the professionals who are not doing or who are not following their value chain because of the shortcuts or because of some other what I can say the anxieties or excitements, they are leaving the correct path and they are diverging towards the wrong path. So they have to be consistently following their own path. Once they start doing it, they will be into integrity. And once a person is into integrity, his professional endeavors can never be out of integrity. This is what I believe.
All right, sir. So as we come out to the close of today's enlightening webinar, so on behalf of the Members in Practice Committee and SAPA SMP Committee, I express our heartfelt gratitude to all our esteemed dignitaries, speakers, and the participants making the webinar immensely meaningful and successful. We convey our sincere thanks to Madhukar sir, uh, Mr. Himayu Kabir, President SAPA in his absentia, CA Praveen Kumar Jha, Vice President SAPA, CA Avinash Prodhar sir, for a wonderful session, and CA Badrinath NR sir for a great learnings which we have been taking him from him every time, and for their inspiring presence, valuable guidance, and enriching deliberations. So we also extend our appreciation to all the participants from the SAPA bodies. So I would like to share today we were having around 1,200 participants, and around 100 participants were there from other SAPA countries. So for lastly, heartfelt thanks to everyone working behind these scenes, our technical support team also. Thank you once again. Wish everyone a wonderful evening ahead. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Ji. Thank
Thank
you.